With an estimated population of about 94 million people, the Philippines is no doubt one of the most populous countries in Southeast Asia and in the world. However, almost half of what could have been the country's biggest asset lives in poverty. In 2006, there are roughly 4.7 million poor families all over the Philippines. An alarming truth, but something that should be addressed properly and effectively. Given the country's limited resources, an equitable way of delivering services to the poor must be put in place. And it starts with properly identifying who and where the marginalized poor are. The Department of Social Welfare and Development developed the National Household Targeting System for Poverty Reduction Project, or NHTS-PR, which aims to identify who and where the poor are nationwide. The NHTS-PR is an information management system that is seen as a winning formula to help facilitate an informed and balanced distribution of services for the poor. Spearheaded by DSWD, NHTS-PR further aims to provide a reliable socio-economic database that will guide national government agencies and social protection stakeholders in identifying the right beneficiaries for their social protection programs. It also seeks for better targeted social protection programs and services for the poor.
We in the DSWD are always on the lookout for ways on how we can better serve the poor, disadvantaged, and marginalized Filipinos. Through the National Household Targeting System for Poverty Reduction, we will be able to effectively and efficiently implement social protection programs for the poor.
The NHTS-PR is implemented through an extensive 4-phase project cycle. The first phase, or preparatory phase, involves the identification of areas to assess and prioritize. The NHTS-PR used the 2003 Family Income and Expenditure Survey, or FIES, of the National Statistics Office, or NSO, and the 2003 Small Area Poverty Estimates, or SAES, of the National Statistical Coordination Board, or NSCB, as guide in determining the poverty incidences of provinces, municipalities, and cities nationwide. The poverty incidence of a specific province, municipality, or city determines the method that will be employed for assessment. The data collection and analysis phase commences soon after the target areas and method of assessment are identified. House-to-house interviews are conducted using the Household Assessment Form, or HAF, a 2-page questionnaire with 34 observable and verifiable variables. These include household composition, employment, education of household members, housing condition, and access to basic services. The data gathered are then encoded into a web-based application and are subjected to the Proxy Means Test, or PMT. A statistical model, PMT estimates household income using the variables included in the HAF. These variables, sourced out from the Family and Income Expenditures, or FIES, and the Labor Force Survey, or LFS, of the NSO, were tested to be good predictors of income. Households with estimated income that fall below the poverty threshold of their province are then identified as poor. The third phase is a data validation and finalization. It is during this phase that NHTS-PR implements 2 mechanisms to ensure the integrity of the database. First is the On-Demand Application, or ODA, which gives households who think they are poor but were not assessed in the regular enumeration to apply for household assessment. The second is validation. During this stage, the initial list of poor households is posted in barangays so that the residents can validate the list. The list is posted for 10 to 15 days to give way for inquiries or complaints. A local validation committee, or LVC, is organized to address inquiries and complaints raised during the validation period. The LVC is composed of the city or municipal social welfare officer, planning officer, and other members identified by the local chief executive. With all the data verified, it is time for the last phase, data report generation, where NHTS-PR shares the database to potential data users. These include national government agencies, NGOs, local government units, civil society organizations, and other organizations involved in providing social protection services.
The system of identifying who and where the poor are creates a win-win solution for all stakeholders. First, the serving households are given the proper attention and appropriate services. Second, the national government agencies, local government units, and other stakeholders are assured that they target qualified households. And third, it maximizes the use of the government's limited resources by giving priority to those who need social protection services the most.
Today, some government agencies are taking full advantage of the NHTS-PR database and extending its services to the needy. And they can attest that the database is not just a great help in carrying out their mission, but also ensure that they help the right group of people.
In a project we are implementing in the Philippines to eliminate child labor, the use of the NHTS database has been very helpful in our own targeting of about 9,350 child laborers and their families in the provinces of Quezon, Masbate, Northern Samar, and Bukidnon. Instead of starting from scratch in terms of this baselining activity and spending more time and financial resources, using the NHTS list as the starting or sampling frame, our work became easier and faster and cheaper. Cost effectiveness in these areas means increased resources for actual services to our poor beneficiaries.
Health is one of the biggest concerns of the poor, and through the DSWD's National Household Targeting System for Poverty Reduction, we are able to focus on households which are in the most need of health insurance coverage. Indeed, it is not enough that we provide health insurance to all Filipinos. It is more important that we provide access to quality healthcare to those who need them the most. Our National Health Insurance Program has actively expanded its enrollment of poor households, working side by side with the National Household Targeting System for Poverty Reduction of DSWD as an important source of information. We are quite glad DSWD came out with this very useful tool.
The equitable distribution of resources and services to the poor is now more feasible. With the database identifying the needy and the vulnerable, government is assured that projects and programs are provided only to qualified beneficiaries. Thus, NHTS-PR helps in ensuring the resources of the government are indeed received by Filipinos who need it the most. The National Household Targeting System for Poverty Reduction. Sigurado, kumpleto, totoo.